The first one is the person who's going to deal in wholesale and distribution of the bulk liquid petroleum gas. Any person who intends to deal in the wholesale of such gas will be required to pay a license fee of 1,500,000 Ugandan currency. And any person who intends to renew that will have to pay half of that price, which is 750. The license shall be the license shall be active for 2 years. And any person who intends to deal in the transportation of bulk liquid petroleum gas will be required to pay license fees of 1 million Uganda shillings. And that license also spans for 2 years. The renewal of such a license of 1 million shillings will be 500,000. Refilling of cylinders, the cylinders of 6 kgs, 3 kgs, 13 kgs, and above. If you want to have a refilling plant, then you should pay uh, a license of 2 million Uganda shillings and renewable at 1 million Uganda shillings. In the event that you don't deal in distribution, you don't deal in retail, you don't deal in distribution, not retail, not refilling, but you want to be a retailer under this segment, a retailer is required to pay 300,000 for this gas. Now, there is an aspect of called retitulation. Retitulation of gas is where uh, there is one big cylinder and is connected to several households. It happens in condominium properties. It also happens in some hotels. Some hotels hotels, resorts. There's one big cylinder, and there are other pipes connecting to different units or household, and those units kind of pay to use that gas either monthly, weekly, or yearly, depending on the agreement of people. That is retitulation. Retitulation will basically require a license of 500,000, which is renewable at 250. This practice is not so much in Uganda, but countries like Russia, USA, and so on have it, since their main, even China, since their main aspect of cooking is gas. In Uganda, we basically go independent, but it's also there. Hotels like Imperial Royal and so on, they have one big cylinder of about 100 kilograms, 200 kilograms, and it's connected all through. Then there is what we call where you have this license and you want to transfer. Maybe you have sold your interest and you have to transfer, where there is transfer of assignment of a license. In the event of transfer, you pay 50%. The person who is being transferred to will need to pay 50% of what the person who of the license earlier on paid. So 50%, and renewal, the fees will be as illustrated above. So those are the fees payable. What do you need? We should understand that all bulk traders will require one, a registered business, and a registered business would mean a company for that matter, because dealers in large wholesale bulk would require registered business, would require a bank reference letter to the adequacy of capital of the business. Okay, you would require a copy of the original documentation of the owners or shareholders, that is ID, passport photo, Form 20 of directors, and so on. You look at, they will need a tax certificate, a TIN, tax identification number certificate. For any company that is going to deal in bulk, in their application for a license, they will need to attach a TIN certificate, a copy of a valid tax compliance certificate. They also need to attach a copy of a work permit in the event that the dealers are foreigners. Work permit works for people who are not citizens of Uganda, so they need to operate with a work permit. When you look at, they need to get ownership license. For example, you're going to deal in brands like Starbucks, like Total, like Shell, and you're going to distribute that in bulk. You need to confirm ownership of the same. Therefore, valid hospitality, you need to put insurance, the original copy of conformity of cylinders. Remember, there is a standard kind of gauge for all cylinders, so you must demonstrate that you have a standard kind of fill not one cylinder having 6, another than having 7, another than having. You have this to demonstrate that all your cylinders have the same standard measurement, and so on. Uh, you need to avail proof of valid insurance, because the risk of bursting, fire, accidents, and so on. Yeah, you need to come up with a fire management plan. You have seen on